You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Week 7 in Nassau Conference 2. It might be the penultimate regular season week, but it is the biggest as the MacArthur Generals take on the Garden City Trojans. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody. Alongside Matt Shortis, I'm John Perez. Garden City and MacArthur both have run roughshod over Nassau Conference 2 this year, both undefeated at 6-0. And Matt will start with MacArthur, a 41-8 win over Elmont last week. And, of course, it goes to their superstar running back, James Napoli.
Yeah, and James Napoli coming off of last week, that game that you mentioned.
Just breaking it down for everybody out there, that's an average score of 44-2. And, of course, they've got the best back in the league, Jack Kuskaden.
Yeah, Jack Kuskaden this season, over 700 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns on the season. And one of the things that you remember about Jack Kuskaden from a year ago, and he's continued to do it this year, is not only is he effective between the tackles, is he effective as a down-to-down back, but he has
that coming, of course, in May. And now you look at the standings as well. I mean, what more can you say, Matt? At the top of the league, you've got the two best teams right here, Garden City, MacArthur. New Hyde Park not far behind.
Took until the waning moments to determine the county championship, and Garden City won their 5th straight county title. But in the last 3, 4, 5 seasons, MacArthur and Garden City have been the clear class of Conference 2 in Nassau County.
And the fans are starting to pile in as well, and you could start to see the atmosphere. What a great atmosphere it is over here at Garden City. I got lucky that I got
intelligent, and it's tough to beat them on their home field.
MacArthur won the opening toss, and they'll take it off to start the contest at
2 points per game. So this defense has been nothing short of phenomenal.
The quote from David Ettinger in the middle of the week is, "If we think we're going to win 49-0 like we did last week, you're out of your mind."
Yeah, so defensively, this is where Garden City wants to be. It's a 3rd and long situation, and MacArthur's got to throw the ball.
Yeah, Muller to pass, firing it over the middle. It's caught, and it's going to be close to that first down marker, but it's Napoli again. And they'll give it to him. So a pickup of 18 spots the ball at the 42. And how about this? MacArthur, 3rd and a mile, they convert on 3rd down.
Well, Will Peters saw the pass coming. He tried to get there, but just didn't have enough time. And how about the job of Napoli shielding the ball with his body? He anticipated the contact, and also good heads-up play by Napoli, getting to right where the sticks were. So by the time he came out of his break, he was right at the first down marker and was ready to receive the pass.
And Fehrenbach said during the week, too, that that's the biggest area that Napoli has improved is his hands. He always had great hands, but good to see him in open space. Pistol formation for MacArthur on 1st and 10. And a big hit. Garden City bringing the thunder. That is Sawyer Olson.
Sawyer Olson read that well and got a great jump off the block. And he was in the backfield basically by the time that MacArthur handed off the ball.
Olson and Staub. You know, you think of, what was it, remember the Titans, left side or strong side? That's what those two guys are for Garden City. And once again, MacArthur with a 2nd and way long 2nd and 14 from the 39.
So they lost yardage on the first down of the game and then on this one as well.
The handoff goes to Napoli. Pushing ahead, gets back to the original line of scrimmage and brought down. This will set up 3rd and 10.
Really nice job by Anthony Tufano on the left side of that line with a good pancake block, just giving Napoli a little bit of room to work with, and Napoli was able to get some positive yardage after that.
MacArthur has some size on the line, too. You mentioned Tufano, 6 foot, 225. Clarkson as well, and Griffin Shapiro, both 6-footers, north of 225. Those are some big guys on the line, and they've been an integral part to MacArthur's running game this year.
Yeah, and historically, MacArthur does have, that is one thing that they do well, and that is raise linemen on the offensive or defensive line. And they also have a lot of depth and a lot of different bodies that can contribute on that part of the ball.
3rd and 9, Muller to throw, and there's a sack. Brendan Staub with the takedown.
We saw Sawyer Olson a moment ago and Staub coming off the left side of the line, and there was nobody on him. I don't know if it was a missed block or Staub just made one really nice play against Tefano, who was coming over to that right side of the line. And Staub, who's so quick, got a great first step and 1/3 and long conversion from MacArthur, but they couldn't do anything with this one.
This is Matt Sarney to punt it away. And Sarney gets it off. And returning now for the Trojans, this is Jack Butler. Butler up the near side, excuse me. That was Connor Cullen. Excuse me, RJ Vitrona. I'm losing all the fours here. I apologize. Fours are wild, so I'll play that. But anyway, yeah, so it's 7 minutes to go, just under 7 minutes to go, 6:59. The Garden City offense will come out. And let's meet the offense for Garden City. Luke Schmidt, Jack Kuskaden, Jackson Pariza, RJ Vitruba, along with Will Peters, Luke Paskowitz, and on the line, Staub, Stenson, Krieg, Chris Shulo, and Sawyer Olson. Krieg getting the start, earning the center spot. Played really well from weeks 3 to 5. That's earned him the starting nod, and we get our first look at Kuskaden on offense. And Kuskaden so effortlessly shaking a couple of tacklers, 1 carry, 1 first down, a pickup of 11.
And Kuskaden listed at 6'3", 215. Such a tough guy to bring down. And this offensive line making the job a little bit easier for Kuskaden as he's able to get a couple yards even before contact comes. And picks up a first down on his first carry of the game.
Ball on the 29 on first down. And Schmidt rolling out, calling his own number. Luke Schmidt. Before he gets gang tackled, he'll have a pickup of about 5.
Luke Schmidt, such an efficient quarterback overall. He's well over 50% passing, and he doesn't throw the ball a ton, but he's a very capable passer. And when he needs to, he's super, super accurate.
Luke Schmidt, 20 for 26 this year, 328 passing yards. And he'll pass it here, fading it, far side to the end zone. Incomplete.
Boy, what a look for Jackson Parisa. And Parisa did a nice job running the route. Good job defensively as well by MacArthur, staying with it. And Parisa saw that ball was kind of floating a little bit. He tried to come back underneath it and extended the arms. And just as he was going down, couldn't control the ball, hits the turf, so the referee says incomplete pass.
So close to Garden City opening up the scoring. Instead, it'll be 3rd and 5 from the 24. 2 receivers each side. Kuskaden in the backfield, and Kuskaden will take the carry. Up the near side, Kuskaden, the 10-5 touchdown. Garden City picking up where they left off. Jack Kuskaden waltzes into the end zone, 6-0 Trojans at home.
And it shows you the confidence that Dave Ettinger and company have in this offense. Normally you see a team take a shot like that on 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2. They go for it on 2nd and 5, knowing that even if they don't convert there, they still feel pretty good at 3rd and 5 here. And a nice job blocking on the left side of that offensive line, and a good extra block on the outside there to seal the edge by the receiver, Robert Durkash. And a touchdown run for Jack Kuskaden, his 13th of the season on the ground.
And the extra point is good for Garden City. So with 5:45 to go in the first quarter, the Trojans lead at 7-0 over MacArthur at home. We'll step aside on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
It's time to get hyped with Varsity Media. We offer an array of video services sure to amp up your team. From staged preseason hype videos with custom lighting and smoke machines to sideline highlights of a big game. How can your team stand out from the crowd? Contact Varsity Media today and let us tailor something your squad will never forget. These are the best times of your life. Capture them in the most creative ways possible with the sports leader, Varsity Media.
7-0 Garden City about midway through the first quarter. Alongside Matt Shortis, I'm John Perez. And Matt, very clinical precision execution by Garden City on that last drive. Almost had a touchdown to Pariza towards the end zone on a fade. Next play, Garden City flushes it out. Jack Kuskaden to the house for the TD.
And you asked me earlier in the game what makes this team so difficult to beat at home, and I would go a little bit wider on what makes this team so difficult in general is, right, the first possession for MacArthur took about 4 minutes. They didn't get a whole lot going offensively, but that took about 4 minutes of time. Garden City gets the ball. They score within 2 minutes. Granted, short field, but they have such big playability, and their offense, even though they're a run-heavy offense, can work with such efficiency.
Ball gets bobbled by Steve Weber, and now on the carry is Matt Sarney. And Sarney taken down. Ball will be spotted at the 26.
So we saw a few times in the spring, right, that shortened football season, whether it was MacArthur or Southside, or right, these teams coming up against Garden City would put so much effort and so much time into a drive, and if they didn't score, it almost felt like a turnover in and of itself, because the fact that Garden City can score with such quickness, such efficiency, even if they have the whole length of the field to go.
Well, MacArthur, they know the firepower that they're up against. Let's meet their starting lineup. And we mentioned Muller at the top at quarterback and James Napoli, but it's Popich, Hagel, Findaro, along with Malik Smith, James Clarkson, Mario Lagazza wearing number 50 today, Griffin Shapiro, Matt Clarkson, and Anthony Tefano. And Muller will keep it himself. And there's the Garden City D-line again. Kuskaden with the takedown. Also assisted by Luke Paskowitz.
Yeah, if Garden City's defensive line is going to get this sort of pressure, it's going to be a pretty long day for MacArthur. They have to find a way to get a little bit of help on the edges, because so far, whether it was Sawyer Olson or Brendan Staub, Jack Kuskaden on the other side of that line, they've been able to get some good pressure. We've had 3 first down plays for MacArthur. This resulted in no gain. 2 of the prior 2 resulted in losses.
Still early for MacArthur, a team that has a running game that could turn it on at the snap of a finger. And a whistle ahead of time, and flag on the far side. And a false start. MacArthur will push him back 5.
And that is another impact of this Garden City defense, is that the offensive line could get a little jumpy. They're trying to kind of outsmart Garden City because of the speed and power that they've shown off the 2 edges.
Well, and we mentioned them too, but I mean, just the size that Garden City has, whether it's Stenson, Paisley, Olson, Staub, all 6-footers, all north of 200 pounds. I mean, those are some big dudes up front. On 2nd and long, Muller to pass. Over the middle, it's hauled in for the catch.
Wow.
What a pickup by MacArthur. James Hagel, the 5'8 senior, picking up a first down and moving the chains for the Generals.
Well, looking a little bit taller than 5'8 there. He had to go up and grab that one. Good time to throw for Ryan Muller. Good job by the offensive line creating that space. A little bit high, but Hagel going up. He was double covered and managed to come down with the catch. His momentum was carrying him towards midfield. I didn't think he was going to hold on to it, so great job by the senior wide receiver. So, John, how about this? MacArthur's 2 first downs so far coming from the air game.
Yeah, which is something that has not been their bread and butter this year, but great teams have to adjust, and there's the big carry for MacArthur. The first carry not by James Napoli. That's Finn Duffy, 5'11 senior. And to pick up a 4.
Finn Duffy, the fullback, and a good job on the right side of the offensive line for MacArthur, with Clarkson and Tefano. And the center, Griffin Shapiro, getting some push in there as well. It's the first play for positive yardage on first down for the Generals today.
And a pickup of 1 for Muller. Well, it's interesting you mentioned the fullbacks, too, because that's what Fehrenbach
stopped to keep that a 1-yard game, and it's somewhat systematic and somewhat formulaic for Garden City.
Schmidt on the pump fake, pocket collapsing, shakes past a couple of defenders, and is ultimately brought down. That's Steve Weber, who had initial contact before the reinforcements came for the Generals. And with time winding down, that might be the last play of the first quarter.
Man, a good job even by Luke Schmidt to get out of that. He was almost wrapped up by Malik Smith in the backfield. That would have gone for a loss, and instead Schmidt able to pick up 2 on the play.
So Garden City going to the sidelines with the lead. 1 quarter in the books. The Trojans lead the Generals 7-0 at home on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Parents and athletes, why leave your college career in the hands of amateurs? Varsity Media produces professional college recruiting videos that you can use to help land a spot on the team. Our highlight reels have proven to save thousands of dollars in college tuition. You've worked hard and put the effort into your high school athletic career. Don't take any chances when it comes to your future. Varsity Media has been producing college recruiting videos since 2010. We understand what college coaches are looking for, and our attention to detail on your highlights will separate your resume from others. Stand out from the crowd. We'll help showcase your talents. Contact Varsity Media today and order a college recruiting video.
We get ready for the second quarter. Garden City with a 7-0 lead over MacArthur. Week 7 in Nassau Conference 2. Thank you so much for making us a part of your afternoon. Alongside Matt Shortis, I'm John Perez and the rest of the Varsity Media Sports Network. Chris Sweeney working his magic over there in the corner to keep us up and going. And we're ready to go on 3rd and 6 for the Trojans. It's Jack Kuskaden. Big pickup and 4th down upcoming for the Trojans. After pick up a 5.
What a tremendous stop on the right side of that line by Matt Clarkson. A shoestring tackle that saves the defensive drive for MacArthur. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Garden City go for it here. 4th and 3, but inside MacArthur territory. It's sort of that in-between where maybe it's a little too long to punt, but definitely too long to kick a field goal.
Yeah, definitely no downside here for Garden City. They just have to hold on to the football. And on the carry now for the Trojans. That's Aiden Considine. And he'll pick it up and move the chains.
Well, a nice job of running by Considine there. He kept kind of running horizontally towards the press box here, waiting for the opportunity to turn the corner. And there was a MacArthur defender that was pursuing, and he kind of just ran right by him and was able to get the first down.
Aiden Considine, only a sophomore, the best player on the JV squad last year when we featured him on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Schmidt over the middle to pass, and that's hauled in. And Garden City's in the red zone. It's Jackson Pariza again.
Boy, what a good job by Schmidt, sort of threading the needle on that play. And Pariza, who almost had a touchdown reception on the last drive. This one, more of a slot-in type route, able to turn his hips and turn the shoulders a little bit in order to make the target good for his quarterback. And perfectly thrown ball, well received. And Garden City's in business here.
1st and goal from the 7. And a whistle. And a timeout taken by MacArthur as they'll discuss it. Well, Matt, you'd have to imagine Garden City, a team that, can control the tempo, controls the running game. This is probably 4-down territory for them early on.
Oh, for sure, yeah. We already saw them go for it on 4th down just a moment ago from about the 34-yard line. And here, it goes back to what we were saying on their last drive, right, where they took a shot downfield on 2nd and 5. They just have so much confidence in their big playmakers, whether that be the quarterback, Luke Schmidt, whether that be Jack Kuskaden, whether that be the ability of the offensive line to open up lanes and make those things happen. I mean, a guy like Luke Schmidt is a senior quarterback. His first varsity experience was coming in and starting the Nassau County Championship game as a sophomore. So if somebody's able to step into that role, handle the pressure of that, and he has answered all the challenges and all the calls since then in his 1.75, however you want to qualify the spring season so far as a starting quarterback for Garden City. And then likewise for MacArthur, this is really an important goal line stand for the Generals. The way that Garden City puts up points offensively, getting behind by 2 scores is a huge, huge hill to climb.
Loaded backfield for the Trojans. Kuskaden. Nice pickup of 5 for Kuskaden.
Steve Weber in there making the tackle, and Kuskaden, good job kind of waiting that out, being patient, little sidestep, waiting for the play to develop. And, you don't need to get huge yardage down here in the red zone, but picked up a couple.
And Garden City just has so many weapons that you can obviously hand it off to Kuskaden. We saw Consolation before. Some options in the backfield for Garden City. And we'll see what they do on 2nd and goal. They go to Kuskaden again. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Jack Kuskaden from 2 yards out. Doubles up the lead. It's 13-0.
James Clarkson from MacArthur able to get contact in the backfield, but not able to wrap up Kuskaden. And, a lot of defenders have been able to say that over the last couple seasons, trying to bring down Jack Kuskaden. Such a strong lower body at 6'3", 215 pounds. He shakes off the one defender, and then a couple steps into the end zone for his 2nd touchdown today.
Extra point up for Garden City, drilled right through for Anthony Cuccia. And with 9:30 to go in the 2nd quarter, the Trojans lead it 14-0 on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
It's time to get hyped with Varsity Media. We offer an array of video services sure to amp up your team. From staged preseason hype videos with custom lighting and smoke machines to sideline highlights of a big game. How can your team stand out from the crowd? Contact Varsity Media today and let us tailor something your squad will never forget. These are the best times of your life. Capture them in the most creative ways possible with the sports leader, Varsity Media.
Garden City leading 14-0 on a pair of touchdowns for Jack Kuskaden, picking up where he left off last week, and a big drive early on for MacArthur coming up. Matt trailing 14-0. You've seen how Garden City can control the line of scrimmage, get to the end zone for MacArthur. I'd imagine, obviously they want to score, but maybe take some time off the clock as well and not give Garden City an opportunity to respond.
70-yard drive for Garden City just now, culminating in that Kuskaden touchdown. And you're right, MacArthur hasn't sniffed the other side of the field. They have not gotten into Garden City territory as of yet today. They had an opportunity, and the passing game, surprisingly, for MacArthur has looked pretty efficient. But for them to be successful today, they got to find some success, or start to find some success on the ground.
Yeah, Kuskaden, 5 rushes today, 45 yards in that pair of TDs. As MacArthur set to go. And this is James Napoli. Past the 30, the 35. And nice little sprint speed from James Napoli. It looked as if he, was shifting gears there. Put it from 1st gear to 2nd gear and had an extra pickup.
And this will be the best starting field position for MacArthur today, starting at their own 38-yard line. And Napoli is a guy that if he gets out into the open field, he can put on another gear. As you mentioned, they just haven't been able to get him in open space just yet.
Well, and MacArthur can only go up from here because, Matt, like you mentioned on the last drive, MacArthur didn't pick up a single yard on their first down play, on their first down play, and that was the best because they had lost yardage on 1st and 2nd down their first 2 drives. But looking to get set up here as they'll start it off at their own 38. Muller with the hard count. Now gets it, pitches back, ball's loose on the ground. And MacArthur pounces on top of it. Tried to pitch it to Duffy. And Duffy not able to secure it. And another loss on first down for MacArthur.
Oh, it's tough when you're putting yourself in these negative yardage situations. So that's the third sort of, I don't know, coaching play that you would look back and kind of shake your head at, right? They've had two false starts on their prior drives on first down, backing them up, and now a near turnover as they lose 8 on this one, and it backs up to the 30-yard line. So a second down and 18 coming up for MacArthur.
So on second and long, Muller. Play action, dropping it off in the flat. This is Napoli. And Napoli spun and taken down. Big hit by Garden City. That's R.J. Vitruba.
Yeah, that play could have gone a lot of different ways. Napoli just had Vitruba to beat, and he was in open space. Tries to shake him, and Vitruba gets just enough of the jersey. And once he had a little bit of grip, he wasn't letting go. Spins down Napoli for a loss of 5. And they're on the 25-yard line. They have to get to the 48 for a first down.
Which, for those of you watching at home, makes it 3rd and 23, or just 3rd and long.
Yeah. 3rd and a quarter of the field.
Muller, 3 receivers, top of your screen. Fakes the handoff, now calls his own number. We'll pick up a couple, but a 3 and out for the Generals.
Yeah, we talked about this offense not really being built too much for 3rd and long situations. There's not a whole lot of offenses that are built for 3rd and 25 situations.
Now, unfortunately for MacArthur, they haven't had a lot of 3rd and 23 situations this year. So new territory for them. And it'll be Matt Sarney to punt it away again for the Generals. Good snap, Sarney. That ball caught by Vitruba, and Vitruba will take it back to the original line of scrimmage for MacArthur. So Vitruba with the big takedown in the backfield, and then a nice pickup on the punt return.
I mean, Garden City really does almost everything well, but another thing that they do well is play the field position game as well. MacArthur had their best starting field position of the afternoon so far at the 39-yard line, and what happens? A fumble for a loss of 5, and then a big defensive play for Garden City for an additional loss, and then MacArthur ends up not getting anything, and Garden City is able to start with the ball where MacArthur had it to start. So huge turn in starting field position for the Trojans.
And you just have to imagine a punch to the gut for MacArthur as well. As Garden City, great field position to start it off, as they will start it off at the MacArthur 39. Jack Kuskaden already 2 TDs today. And a whistle ahead of time.
We saw some movement from the right side of the MacArthur, but I don't know if they went over the line of scrimmage. The referees will get together and we will see. Perhaps Garden City drew them off, but MacArthur was showing blitz. They were a little antsy to go.
And they'll pick up the flag. The lines judge, Steve DeLillo, and the linesman, Lowell Citron. Deciding that there was nothing there, despite the movement.
Yeah, so like I said, we saw movement from MacArthur for sure. They were looking ready to go, but I don't think they crossed over the line of scrimmage in that neutral zone area.
So we'll do it again on first down. Kuskaden bounces off a defender, stays on his feet, and ends up picking up 3.
As a defender, they teach you to go low and tackle low, and it looked like Weber was trying to do that. And just, Kuskaden, again, so strong, had the leverage and bowled Weber down. But Weber did a good enough job to slow him down that MacArthur, the defense, was able to help and slide over and ended up limiting that to just 2-yard pickup.
Well, listen, you try slowing down a freight train. Schmidt to pass on second down. In the open field. Garden City has a first down. That's Stephen Finnell Jr.
Well, that's the thing that Kuskaden can also do for this offense, right? MacArthur has to respect the run because Kuskaden has been so effective. So a little screen pass sets up Stevie Finnell Jr. Finnell was wide open by the time he caught it. He was able to get over to the sideline, an easy first down for the Trojans.
Trojans marching down the field again. Ball on the 27, under 6 to play in the second quarter. Schmidt to pass. Flipping it over and just underthrowing. The intended receiver was Robert Durkash.
That pass was sort of in between. It could have gone underneath. It looked like Durkash was the underneath guy, but there was a deeper man, or it looked like Finnell was the underneath guy. Durkash was deeper, and dangerous pass because MacArthur almost had an interception there. Instead, it just falls incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Two receivers on the near side. That's Pariza and Vitruba. And Schmidt rolling out. Still on his feet. Throwing it over, and it is caught. How about that? Garden City once again with the reception. That's Aiden Considine.
Considine, I don't know how he managed to hold on to that or managed to get there. Like Luke Schmidt, a very dangerous throw. Connor Cullen lost his footing in the backfield, almost had Schmidt locked up, and then this throw, Considine, what a reception. He had Rocco Hogan Jr. right on his back pocket. And Considine with the second big offensive play we've seen from him today, and another fresh set of downs for Garden City.
And the Trojans will take a timeout, and we will as well. 5:16 to go in the second quarter. Trojans lead at 14-0 over the Generals on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Over the middle, he's got a man. It's complete. Ciolino. See you later.
Going long, wide open, Perazi. He gets it. Perazi, foot raise, 10, 5, make it. Touchdown. Punch, counter punch.
The trickery, Ryder gets it back, goes over the top for Haberman. What a catch!
Just Ross Simmons strips him. That's loose, and Ross Simmons is going to take this the other direction. Make it! Touchdown! Touchdown East!
.5:16 to play in the second quarter. Trojans up 14-0, and they're looking for more. Alongside Matt Shortis, I'm John Perez. You know, Matt, Garden City, like we said, clinical, precisional, whatever. It's SAT season, so whatever synonym you want to throw in there. But Garden City has executed on every side of the field.
Yeah, and even when they've had their backs against the wall a little bit, which has been a pretty rare instance in this contest, they had a 4th and 3. They managed to convert there. They really haven't had stressful situations on either side of the ball. They haven't had 3rd and longs. MacArthur has had a lot of 3rd and long situations today. So it's been a pretty confident, commanding type game so far for Garden City.
First Wildcat play for Kuskaden as he'll take the direct snap. Kuskaden to the 5 towards the end zone before he gets pushed out of bounds. But a big pickup for Jack Kuskaden. And they will spot the ball at the 2, so a pickup of 8.
And it also allows some of the different Garden City weapons to get a look. We saw from or heard from Stevie Finnell a moment ago. You have Vitruba out on the outside, so guys that can get involved. And Aiden Considine, the sophomore wide receiver, he's had a strong start to this contest. So MacArthur has to respect all of those different options for Garden City. It makes it tough to defend.
Luke Schmidt back under center. Ball dropped. Here is Kuskaden. And Kuskaden to the end zone, touchdown. Captain Jack once again. Touchdown number 3. And Garden City leads at 20-0 at home.
Well, a natural hat trick for Kuskaden. 3 touchdowns on 3 Garden City possessions. And even when things aren't quite going right for Garden City, they're going right for Garden City because Luke Schmidt had the ball. He was in the process of being tackled, able to flip it with a little shovel pass to Kuskaden as he's falling down, and Kuskaden able to move it along easily, knew what to do once he received the ball, and his third touchdown of the day.
So now MacArthur upset. The official, I'm not sure what clarity they want.
So the only thing I could think there, we were talking about, right, Luke Schmidt was in the process of being tackled. Perhaps Bobby Fehrenbach trying to make the case that his knee was down by the time he shoveled that pass off.
Well, the call will stand. Krieg the snap, Schmidt the hold, and the kick is drilled through by Anthony Cuccia. And it's 21-0 with 4:59 to go in the second quarter. And Matt, Garden City has just opened it up. Once again, another huge possession for MacArthur upcoming.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really quite anticipated this. Even as good as Garden City has been this season, MacArthur obviously coming into this game at 6-0 as well. And the two games that they played last year were both close contests. The 14-7 championship game that was here on this field, and the regular season contest, which was the score was a little bit closer than the game was, but even still, that was a one-score game. So the fact that Garden City has had about as flawless as a first half of football as you can have is definitely maybe surprising a few folks outside of the Garden City locker room.
Well, and there you see the coaching staff pulling everybody over for MacArthur. Some inspirational, some motivational words being spewed by the coaching staff. You'd have to imagine, because MacArthur has not lived up to the billing yet. You know the potential that they have and the execution that they've been able to have success with in the previous weeks. And they're just looking to right the ship for themselves. Big possession upcoming. Remember, they won the coin toss and elected to receive. They will not get the ball to start the second half unless there's an onside kick, but we could go ifs, ands, and buts. Either way, MacArthur has to come away and get the ziggy off going into the half. Yeah, the biggest motivational and inspirational thing that could happen for MacArthur is start to get some positive rushing yardage on the ground, especially on first down, because their offense just hasn't been able to generate a whole lot. They have a few first downs, two of them coming through the air, which is a little bit of a surprise, but again, that's because the ground game hasn't quite been there, and that is the plan A, B, and C for MacArthur. One thing we have seen in recent history is Bobby Fehrenbach's ability to make changes and make adjustments at halftime. So we'll see what this team looks like coming out of the half, but they have work to do first. Well, Sarney coughs it up. Garden City pounces, and they'll take it over. Sarney just never looked comfortable handling the ball. He lost it, and now Garden City with a chance to turn this into a laugh for first half.
And boy, the exact opposite of what MacArthur would have liked to see there, trying to get anything generated before the first half of play, and comes to a close. And instead, second fumble of the day, first one that they ended up losing, and the first turnover by either team. And it seems sometimes that any of the contenders in Conference 2, if they're going to beat Garden City, you have to play flawless football. And MacArthur hasn't done that just yet. There's been missed tackle opportunities, obviously the turnover there, and give credit to Garden City as well. They have, on the other end of things, played a near flawless, perfect football game so far. Though I'm sure Dave Ettinger and Steve Fennell and the rest of the coaching staff would probably disagree with that assessment for Garden City.
Coaches always find something. Kuskaden, 8 rushes, 58 yards. This time it's a pass. And a pickup for Garden City, still on his feet. And a huge pickup as it's hauled in by Fennell.
Stevie Fennell received that ball at about the 12-yard line, got another 5 yards, and had 2, 3, 4 guys on him by the time he was tackled.
So Garden City once again in the red zone. It'll be first and goal from the 7. Here's Kuskaden, and Kuskaden taken down.
A well-timed tackle by Steve Weber, the senior linebacker and wide receiver from MacArthur. Now, if they can limit, as you take a look at Kuskaden's numbers, if they can limit this Garden City offense with under 4 minutes to go in this first half, that will be a huge, huge mental victory heading into halftime.
Schmidt from the 5, pitches it back. Kuskaden on the left side. 4 touchdowns today, Jack Kuskaden. And it's only the first half.
You know, we mentioned Brendan Staum on the left side of the line earlier, and another one. Just tremendous, tremendous blocking by Staub. You know, it's easy for us. We're up here and seeing that it looks fairly easy and relatively effortless for Kuskaden. And a large part of that is because of the holes that this offensive line is able to create on the Garden City side of things. And Jack Kuskaden, it was almost like he was just extending his arms and bench pressing all the way down, throwing a couple different blocks. And an easy run for Kuskaden, aided by Staub on the left side of that offensive line.
Extra point is good once again as we take another look at this last play. And you're right, too. Big marks over to Staub, Stenson, Krieg, Cruciello, and Olsen today. They've done a really good job and just open up those holes for Kuskaden.
Yeah, Staub from the left tackle spot, pulling over to get to the outside of the line, and the one defensive end for MacArthur, Stevie Fennell Jr. came with him, but there was really nobody else to block, and Kuskaden was able to find his way home.
So with 3:36 to go in the second quarter, MacArthur, well, we said it last time, we're going to sound like a broken record. They have to get points on the board going into the half. A team that is just looking to build momentum any way that they can. Garden City has had their hands all over this game and have controlled it and led wire to wire so far in a big first half for the Trojans.
Yeah, 4 possessions, 4 touchdowns, and 4 of them for Jack Kuskaden. And they make the most of the short field as special teams turnover on the last kickoff for MacArthur. A fumble. Garden City takes it on the 20-yard line, and they go the 20 yards they need to score. So that's equally as troubling in a sense for MacArthur and the coaching staff of Bobby Fahrenbach and company is that, you know, your offense hasn't really done a whole lot, but your defense hasn't been able to come up with a stop to keep yourselves in the game either. Right. So they've got a lot of work to do with 3.5 minutes to go here in this first half.
Chance for redemption for Sarney. And Sarney with a better pickup this time, just past the 40. Matthew Sarney, good field position for MacArthur.
Yeah, and that's got to feel good, right? After creating a turnover and fumbling the ball, you have a nice return. Give your team their best starting field position of the day at their own 41-yard line.
Well, the success that MacArthur has had on offense has been when Muller's been passing the ball. And we'll see if they air it out for the final 3:30 to go or 3:28 to go in the second quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, especially with the score of the game and how that dictates what they want to do.
And Muller to pass on first down. Airing it out. Near side. Incomplete. Would have been a tough catch for James Hagel. Good coverage by the DB for Garden City, as that's R.J. Vitruba. Again, good coverage. And how about the first half that Vitruba had? He had the big tackle for the loss, had the deflection there. Little Troy Polamalu-esque. He's been all around the ball.
Yeah, yeah. You know, if this wasn't high school, there might have been a flag thrown there. Vitruba
Right.
never turned his hands around, never turned his head around. But he did do a good job of not being too physical in a sense before the ball came. He saw the receiver kind of looking back and just put his arms up.
Right. Muller on second down. The keeper taken down. The Garden City defense stands up again. It's Brendan Staub.
Well, I don't know how many times we have said Staub's name today, whether it be a strong block or a good tackle. Line play has been so tremendous for Garden City. And again, another 3rd and long for MacArthur is another loss, another net negative yardage play for the MacArthur offense.
And a timeout taken by Garden City with 3:14 to go in the second quarter.
And I wonder how much this was a relatively younger side football team last season, right? But last season was only a couple months ago, right? Because we came out and had the triathlon mad dash of three sporting seasons in about 3 months. And this team, this program where there's a lot of overlap from football and lacrosse, they went right into a 6-game regular season, won a county title against these MacArthur Generals, maybe a slightly sluggish start to the lacrosse season, but won a Nassau County Championship in lacrosse, and then all of a sudden you turn the page and they're right back to football. So it was almost like 2 football seasons sandwiched in a very short period of time, and you wonder how that development with a team like Garden City, with a team like Plainridge that was younger last year, coming back and just having so much confidence after that.
Muller shook a couple of tacklers and made something out of nothing, a pickup of 4.
I mean, if you look at some of the names that we're calling, right, these are not guys that are stepping up in new positions that they weren't already in April and May, right? So or March, whenever exactly we were. But Luke Schmidt was a starting quarterback. Kuskaden a starting running back. Staub was starting on the offensive and defensive line. So these guys are just returning to positions they were in just a couple months ago and doing it very, very well.
It's almost like the Olympic break that hockey gets, except it's, a few months. Ball gets loose again. Garden City pouncing on top of it, and it's another turnover. Garden City once again stepping up huge. That was Evan Katardis who picked it up. As the ball got jarred loose, Katardis was there. One of the initial contactors was Kuchia, and Garden City once again with the takeaway.
I wasn't sure if the officials were going to, for sure, signal that a catch. I don't know how much of a football move there was there, but enough of one that it was a reception. And MacArthur, who, they hadn't played their best football by a long shot, but they hadn't turned it over either. Now they're adding turnovers into that mix, and things could get ugly if that continues.
On first down, this is Fennell, and Fennell with another first down.
Fennell a little shiftier right now than Kuskaden, the junior, who saw a little time in the spring. Big lacrosse prospect, obviously the son of Steve Fennell, the defensive coordinator and head lacrosse coach here at Garden City. But with only about 2 minutes remaining in the first half and a sizable lead for Garden City, Fennell is going to get some featured carries now.
And Schmidt to pass. There's Fennell again inside the 20.
And it was play action. And Fennell, once that play action happened, he slipped through the offensive line, and nobody picked him up. He was wide open by the time Schmidt saw him.
Yeah, good fake there by Schmidt. And just easy pickings for Fennell. 1st and 10 from the 16.
It's Kuskaden dragging guys with him for a couple more yards.
Well, Kuskaden with an opportunity for 5 touchdowns in the first half. We'd have to get the Elias or whoever it is that keeps track of these records if that were to happen. But Kuskaden bouncing towards the goal line again.
Well, it would probably be Joe Giannotti. It used to be Mr. Jack White, who the press box is named after here in Garden City. Nassau football statistician, historian.
We'll have to get them on the horn in the half. Clock winding down. Perhaps 2 more shots for Garden City. There's Kuskaden, and there's number 5. Jack Kuskaden, 5 touchdowns in the first half. It's been all Garden City, 34-zip late in the second quarter.
Well, I don't know any sort of records or anything, but you can't deny Jack Kuskaden is having a monster first half. And what a statement Garden City is making, right? MacArthur has been right with them, neck and neck the last couple seasons. Single possession games and single possession differences in county championships, where it took Garden City 2 years ago at Hofstra a late field goal by Gardy, and then a close game back and forth here last year. Well, Garden City is making a statement that says, if you guys want to leave Hempstead, leave Hofstra with a county title, we are not making things easy on you. Garden City 35-0 here in the first half. 5 touchdowns from Jack Kuskaden.
And so with 34 seconds to go, MacArthur probably just a couple of tries here before they head to the locker room. And, Matt, they've got their work cut out for them. I guess I'm going to ask you to put your coach's hat on. What are some of the themes, or is it just an overall tongue lashing? What are you expecting in the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, MacArthur has not had a game like this in years at this point, right? Because they have been that number 2, that 1A in Nassau Conference 2, so they have not been on the losing end of a game like this in quite a long time. So it's first, you just got to gather yourselves. Maybe you walk off the field or you were down 14-0 early, and before you turned around, you're like, what the heck is even going on? So first, you got to compose yourselves, and you can't get everything back, and you may not get everything back, but you want to be able to walk off the field. If you're MacArthur here, a win would be fantastic, but you have to at least prove to yourself that this is not the reality, right? The difference is not 35-0 in the first half. You got to play better, and it sounds simple, but you got to run the football better. You have to control the clock a little bit and keep the ball away from Garden City.
James Hagel on the return. Hagel still on his feet towards midfield and down at the 48.
You know, 2 turnovers at the end of this first half. I mean, this was a 21-0 game with 3 minutes left in the first half, and then kickoff and a fumble for MacArthur. Garden City gets the ball back with about 2 minutes to go, and then MacArthur's driving again, first possession there, and they turn the ball over with a fumble on fourth down. So Garden City, you know, we talked about it. This is a run-first team, but they can score the ball quickly, and they have scored the ball quickly in this first half.
Muller. And there's the Trojan defense again.
All right, Sawyer Olson making that stop. Muller left his feet like he was trying to throw the ball and find somebody, but he couldn't see over the 2 guys coming from the left side, coming around him between Olson and Staub.
It's been a complete effort for Garden City. 35-0 at the half, a standing O by the home crowd. Jack Kuskaden, 5 touchdowns as we head to the half here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
To get a good return or some terrific field position. A better job there by McAloney getting it low. It takes a bounce and fielded at about the 42-yard line. Cutting to the outside is Josiah Brown. Brown breaks a tackle. Brown in the end zone. Touchdown, Josiah Brown.
West, it's a trick play, airing it out to the end zone. Brady West, touchdown. Cyclones, Michael Melkonian.
He will go deep, looking for Katola, double coverage! Touchdown, Syosset! Incredible! Luca Katolo, 32 yards. Over the middle, he's got a man. It's complete. Ciolino. See you later.
Going long, wide open, Perazzi, he gets it, Perazzi, foot raise, 10, 5, make it, touchdown, punch, counter punch.
Trickery, Ryder gets it back, goes over the top for Haberman. What a catch!
Just Ross Simmons strips him, that's loose, and Ross Simmons is going to take this in the other direction. Make it! Touchdown! Touchdown East!
Parents and athletes, why leave your college career in the hands of amateurs? Varsity Media produces professional college recruiting videos that you can use to help land a spot on the team. Our highlight reels have proven to save thousands of dollars in college tuition. You've worked hard and put the effort into your high school athletic career. Don't take any chances when it comes to your future. Varsity Media has been producing college recruiting videos since 2010. We understand what college coaches are looking for, and our attention to detail on your highlights will separate your resume from others. Stand out from the crowd. We'll help showcase your talents. Contact Varsity Media today and order a college recruiting video. It's time to get hyped with Varsity Media. We offer an array of video services sure to amp up your team. From staged preseason hype videos with custom lighting and smoke machines to sideline highlights of a big game. How can your team stand out from the crowd? Contact Varsity Media today and let us tailor something your squad will never forget. These are the best times of your life. Capture them in the most creative ways possible with the sports leader, Varsity Media.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
To get a good return or some terrific field position. A better job there by McAloney getting it low. It takes a bounce and fielded at about the 42-yard line. Cutting to the outside is Josiah Brown. Brown breaks a tackle. Brown in the end zone. Touchdown, Josiah Brown.
West, it's a trick play. Airing it out to the end zone. Brady West, touchdown. Cyclones, Michael Melkonian.
He will go deep, looking for Katola, double coverage. Touchdown, Syosset! Incredible! Luca Katolo, 32 yards. Over the middle, he's got a man. It's complete. Ciolino. See you later.
Going long, wide open, Perazzi, he gets it, Perazzi, foot raise, 10, 5, make it, touchdown, punch, counter punch.
The trickery, Ryder gets it back, goes over the top for Haberman. What a catch!
Just Ross Simmons strips him, that's loose, and Ross Simmons is going to take this in the other direction. Make it! Touchdown! Touchdown East!
Parents and athletes, why leave your college career in the hands of amateurs? Varsity Media produces professional college recruiting videos that you can use to help land a spot on the team. Our highlight reels have proven to save thousands of dollars in college tuition. You've worked hard and put the effort into your high school athletic career. Don't take any chances when it comes to your future. Varsity Media has been producing college recruiting videos since 2010. We understand what college coaches are looking for, and our attention to detail on your highlights will separate your resume from others. Stand out from the crowd. We'll help showcase your talents. Contact Varsity Media today and order a college recruiting video. It's time to get hyped with Varsity Media. We offer an array of video services sure to amp up your team. From staged preseason hype videos with custom lighting and smoke machines to sideline highlights of a big game. How can your team stand out from the crowd? Contact Varsity Media today and let us tailor something your squad will never forget. These are the best times of your life. Capture them in the most creative ways possible with the sports leader, Varsity Media.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
To get a good return or some terrific field position. A better job there by McAloney getting it low. It takes a bounce and fielded at about the 42-yard line. Cutting to the outside is Josiah Brown. Brown breaks a tackle. Brown in the end zone. Touchdown, Josiah Brown.
West, it's a trick play. Airing it out to the end zone. Brady West, touchdown. Cyclones, Michael Melkonian.
He will go deep, looking for Katola, double coverage! Touchdown, Syosset! Incredible! Luca Catolo, 32 yards. over the middle. He's got a man. It's complete. Ciolino. See you later.
Going long, wide open, Perazzi, he gets it, Perazzi, foot raise, 10, 5, make it, touchdown, punch, counter punch.
Trickery. Ryder gets it back. Goes over the top for Haberman. What a catch!
Just Ross Simmons strips him, that's loose, and Ross Simmons is going to take this in the other direction. Make it, touchdown, touchdown East.
Parents and athletes, why leave your college career in the hands of amateurs? Varsity Media produces professional college recruiting videos that you can use to help land a spot on the team. Our highlight reels have proven to save thousands of dollars in college tuition. You've worked hard and put the effort into your high school athletic career. Don't take any chances when it comes to your future. Varsity Media has been producing college recruiting videos since 2010. We understand what college coaches are looking for, and our attention to detail on your highlights will separate your resume from others. Stand out from the crowd. We'll help showcase your talents. Contact Varsity Media today and order a college recruiting video.
Second half set to begin here in Garden City. It's been all Garden City. 35-0 over MacArthur. Alongside Matt Shortis, I'm John Perez. It's been the Jack Kuskaden Show. 5 TDs in the first half for Kuskaden. Matt, we talk about the 5 touchdowns, and we'll talk about how big of an impact he's had. 13 rushes, 82 yards. What's made him so successful this afternoon?
A couple things. One, his ability to run physically, right? There have been a few instances where MacArthur has actually gotten defenders to the point of attack, and they haven't been able to finish the tackle. Part of that, in large part, is because of the physical running style of Jack Kuskaden. The other thing, in larger part, is the play of the offensive line. It has been phenomenal, and give credit to everybody on the offensive line for Garden City, going right down from Staub to Stenson to Krieg, Cusciello, Sawyer Olsen, and especially the left side of the line in Stenson and Staub, and even give credit to Stevie Vanell Jr., who's been in as like the second back, but he's also been used as a blocker in a lot of situations. So those two things really have allowed this Garden City offense in the form of Jack Kuskaden to flourish. I mean, you look at the numbers, 13 carries, 5 touchdowns. So that means over a third of the time he's touched the football today, it has resulted in a Garden City touchdown, which is staggering.
It's incredible the video game-like stats that they've put up this year, too. You mentioned that. We mentioned outscoring opponents 264 to 14. You could add on the 35 now, so that's 299 to 14. An average score for Garden City this football season now has been, 47-2?
Which they're almost here at halftime.
Right. Yeah, exactly, and that's the point there. Either way, MacArthur on the other side, they're a team that can turn it on. And, Matt, we mentioned what they need to do going into the half. I'd have to imagine that for Bobby Fehrenbach, it was not a pretty locker room scene, but, there's a lot of pride on that team. There's a lot of talent. I can't imagine that they would just lie down now. They've got 2 quarters to get themselves back into this game.
Yeah, and we talked about it before the first half. You want to be able to leave today, for us, we might say, okay, a win might be a little bit more out there. For them, obviously, you're talking about, hey, we're not going to get it all back all at once. We got to get some stops. We have to find a way to get our offense going and put the ball in the back of the end zone and chip away at this thing. That's what you tell yourself mentally to try and get yourself back into this. But there's lots of room for improvement from what we saw in the first half. And because Garden City is going to start with the ball, it's got to start on the defensive side of the ball for MacArthur. They have to find a way to not allow this Garden City defense to score because they were a perfect 5 for 5 in the first half.
Right, and we'll see that right now. It'll be Matt Sarney to boot it away. It's been the Sarney show on special teams. He's the kick returner and the place kicker as well, and Garden City will start it off. And still on his feet, past the 50, into the 45. That is Jackson Pareza.
Well, and for Garden City, again, they've checked a lot of boxes for everything that they've done well today. They haven't had to receive a kickoff yet. They've had punt coverage and punt reception, but first kickoff received of the day for Garden City, and they're going to start in MacArthur territory with a short field.
So Jack Kuskaden and the rest of the offense back out onto the field, leading 35-0, starting off the second half.
So I would imagine if things hold or things continue in the pattern that we saw, we will see Kuskaden at least for the third quarter, and then they'll start to substitute people in. But it's pretty early in the game to start talking about that just yet.
Well, Kuskaden on the first carry, a pickup of about 6, and he just continues to chug along.
Because remember, this is the penultimate game of the regular season. We have one more game left of the regular season next weekend, and then it's postseason time. You get a home playoff game, and then if you're lucky enough to be in the Big Four, they're back at Hofstra, which they weren't last year. So a lot of tuning up to do. Even though it doesn't look like it for Garden City, obviously you want to be clicking all on the right cylinders as we head into the postseason.
14 rushing attempts now for Kuskaden, 88 yards. And on second down, Garden City's got a first down, as this is Fennell. And the clock just continues to wind down early on, as we're seeing the two-headed attack, Kuskaden and Fennell in the backfield.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot more of that. We saw Fennell be featured a little bit more towards the end of that first half, and he's a good dual threat. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's made himself a good wide receiver.
Schmidt to the end zone. It's a touchdown. Jackson Pareza on a 30-yard strike from Luke Schmidt. And the Trojans lead it 41-0 early in the third.
Well, Pareza just missed a touchdown on the first drive of the game for Garden City. He almost made a really, really nice reception. This time they keep it simple. Schmidt able to hang in there. Defense coming right at him. Took a hit, but able to get off the pass on a straight-ahead go route. And Pareza there, 1 step, 1 yard in front of the end zone, and then walked it in after the reception.
Krieg, Schmidt, and now Kuchia, the extra point, and that is good. So 10.5 to play in the third quarter. Garden City continues to roll. They're up 42-0 on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Parents and athletes, why leave your college career in the hands of amateurs? Varsity Media produces professional college recruiting videos that you can use to help land a spot on the team. Our highlight reels have proven to save thousands of dollars in college tuition. You've worked hard and put the effort into your high school athletic career. Don't take any chances when it comes to your future. Varsity Media has been producing college recruiting videos since 2010. We understand what college coaches are looking for, and our attention to detail on your highlights will separate your resume from others. Stand out from the crowd. We'll help showcase your talents. Contact Varsity Media today and order a college recruiting video. Parents and athletes, why leave your college career in the hands of amateurs? Varsity Media.
Back here in Garden City, first touchdown that is not to Jack Kuskaden, it was Jack Pareza. So still Garden City connecting with Jack in the end zone. Luke Schmidt on a 30-yard strike. And it is now 42-0. Garden City at home. In what has been their best performance of the season from an execution standpoint, the opponent that they're playing, just all high marks, Matt.
Yeah, especially when you look at who the opponent is, right? Both of these teams coming in at 6-0 on the season into Week 7, and I don't think there's too many people outside of maybe the Garden City locker room would have anticipated a game like this. I don't even know if Garden City anticipated a game like this, right? Dave Ettinger
They
was
did
telling
not. He
you.
said no.
Yeah. So track record between these two teams wouldn't have indicated anything like this. So all of those things combined, you'd have to say, to this point, this is probably their best game of the season, their most complete game. They have been played near flawless football.
Now Muller will start it off at the 26. Pocket collapses. He fires it up towards James Napoli, who makes the catch, and he's still on his feet inside the 40. James Napoli, a big pickup. Give him a 35-yard gain.
And boy, did MacArthur need that. And, we talked about it from an offensive standpoint. MacArthur really needed to get the run game going, but their passing game has been pretty efficient. First half, Muller was 4 or 5 for 40 yards, so that hasn't been the issue, so to speak. They've just not been able to put a couple plays together, and especially on the ground. So if there's one positive you take from this game so far for MacArthur, Muller has been able to pass the ball with some efficiency, and maybe if these two teams meet again, maybe that's something you keep in the back of your mind if you're Bobby Fehrenbach.
Well, you'd have to imagine, regardless of the result, MacArthur's going to put this on a board or something. Just keep this in their memory the rest of the regular season. That pass was deflected. Kuskaden with the swat.
Good defensive play, and that was the longest play from scrimmage. It's the first time that MacArthur's been in Garden City territory this afternoon as well.
So MacArthur to set up shop on second down. Four receivers spread wide. Muller to pass. Keeps it himself, gets back to the line of scrimmage before getting taken down. As that was Luke Paskowitz with the tackle.
Again, what Garden City's done today, they've done a pretty good job of getting to the ball. There's not been a whole lot of, play action stuff that they've bitten on. Napoli has been well contained, which is no small feat. So, and they've put MacArthur in positions like this. Another 3rd and long coming up for the Generals.
Muller, he'll air it out to the side. Nobody home.
Well, Muller had to get rid of that one because the pocket was collapsing quickly. Brendan Staub, he saw, and that was a strong side. So Muller, even though he was looking downfield, out of the corner of his eye, he sees Staub breathing down his neck, coming right at him, and he knew he had to get rid of it. And he did, but not on target.
Well, and we don't have those specific stats, but I'd imagine that Muller's been hurried, at least a half dozen times?
Yeah, and in the times that he's dropped back to throw, he's thrown the ball a little bit more than a handful of times, but even when he's tried to run or on some of the handoffs, there have been times where Garden City has made contact essentially at the point of the handoff, and there's been nowhere to run. MacArthur's going to go for it here on 4th and 10.
Yeah, they're going to have to go for it to get themselves back into this game. And Muller, once again, slinging it, far side, caught, touchdown! MacArthur's on the board. Matt Poppich with the TD. And so on 4th down, MacArthur gets the Ziggy off. And perhaps some momentum building for the Generals.
And boy, did they need that. Papich, nice job on the reception. Had a receiver right on his hip and then one coming over. So a good, difficult throw by Muller. And again, Muller's been efficient offensively today. He's been one of the bright spots for MacArthur. And they get the ball into Garden City territory for the first time, and they come away with points for the first time early part of this second half.
Sarni's PAT is blocked, and then a flag afterwards.
We'll see what the marker indicates.
came from under the goalpost. So
It looks like it's going against Garden City.
yeah.
So we'll see if they re-kick. It looks like MacArthur is leaving the kicking team out there.
So take 2 for Sarney. He's done a good job on the second chances today. Remember, he lost the football on a kick return earlier in the game, set up a Garden City touchdown, then had a nice return on the ensuing kick. This time the high snap, and he's blocked again. And that was just a high snap for Papich to handle. And the blocked PAT for Garden City will lead it to be 42-6. So 8:33 to go in the third quarter. We'll step aside. Garden City coming up when we come back on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
It's time to get hyped with Varsity Media. We offer an array of video services sure to amp up your team. From staged preseason hype videos with custom lighting and smoke machines to sideline highlights of a big game. How can your team stand out from the crowd? Contact Varsity Media today and let us tailor something your squad will never forget. These are the best times of your life. Capture them in the most creative ways possible with the sports leader, Varsity Media.
Back here on the Varsity Media Sports Network, we thank you for making us a part of your afternoon. This is one of 3 games today, and let's take a look at the future slate on the Varsity Media Sports Network next week. Friday night, under the lights at Southside. It's Bethpage and the Cyclones. The Cyclones coming off a big win last week against Floral Park. And then, of course, the season finale for the Cyclones in Rockville Center. Then on the 30th, next Saturday, Kennedy Catholic taking on Holy Trinity. So a pair of great games coming up. How about the game last night, Matt? Iona Prep, St. Anthony's. They're still talking about it.
Yeah, an opportunity for St. Anthony's, but couldn't get it done.
Boy, Iona Prep ranked number 1 in the Catholic League, and boy, did they show why. Anyway, here's Garden City, one of the top teams in Nassau County on the public school side. After the touchdown by MacArthur, Garden City will take over once again.
Nice open field tackle on special teams by Justin Aramini, the senior for MacArthur. And again, the Trojans' perfect offensive day so far. They have not taken the field where they haven't scored a touchdown. Last possession was the first touchdown not scored by Jack Kuskaden on the afternoon.
But still a Jack, so at least they're keeping the theme.
Jackson Parisa.
So Schmidt under center. Kuskaden still in the backfield. They hand it off to their fullback this time, as this is Fennell again.
I mean, historically, Garden City really uses 2 backs effectively. They have a primary back. They have like their featured back, right? In that case, it would be Kuskaden. And last year was Kuskaden and Pierce Archer. And Archer was sort of a do-it-all type guy who could receive the ball out of the backfield, split out as a wide receiver. And it looks like they're putting Fennell, or they've slotted Fennell sort of into that role that Archer had last year.
And Fennell gets the call on second down, and it'll be 3rd and 1.
Garden City, obviously several weeks away, but looking for their 6th consecutive Nassau County Conference 2 championship. The last time they were able to play a Long Island championship was with the 2019 football season, where they met Lindenhurst in the LIC.
Big hit in the backfield for MacArthur, as that's Vincent Fendaro. Well, you know, Matt, we were talking before the game, and you know what? Let's take another look at Fendaro's hit. been silent today, but made some noise on that last tackle for a loss.
Yeah, Fendaro getting a good push off the offensive line and a rare miscue from the left side of that offensive line today for the Trojans. And the first play really resulting in a loss and also will result in a punt for Garden City for the first time today.
Well, it looks like it'll be Matt Mailing to punt it away for Garden City. Haven't really had to do it that much this season. But, Matt, we were talking about this before the game, and I think it just goes by saying now we thought that the winner of this game would be the favorite to win the county championship. Obviously, that's why they still have to play the game. But having said that, Garden City now the prohibitive favorite, as this will be a short punt, get to about midfield and go out around the 48-yard line is where they punt it. But I don't think I'm going out on a limb here. It's not necessarily a hot take that Garden City proving that they're the favorites, at least in Nassau.
For sure. And if this game had been, pardon me, if this game had been close with a Garden City loss, but a close contest, it still could have been 50-50 because of the power points, right? But Garden City coming into this 6-0, number one in power points, and then the way that the score is right now, I don't think anything will change as far as standings specifically. As you take a look right now, coming into today, obviously the top two were Garden City and MacArthur. New Hyde Park right there as the third team at 5-1. And then 4-2 is Mepham. And we'll have a timeout.
Yeah, timeout taken by Garden's side, but New Hyde Park will have their shot at MacArthur next week in the regular season finale. But timeout taken by Garden's side. Garden City. We will step aside as well. 6:05 to go in the third quarter, 42-6 Trojans.
Arjulo over the middle. He's got a man. It's complete. Ciolino. See you later.
Going long, wide open, Perazzi, he gets it, Perazzi, foot raise, 10, 5, make it, touchdown, punch, counter punch.
Trickery. Ryder gets it back. Goes over the top for Haberman. What a catch!
Just Ross Simmons strips him, that's loose, and Ross Simmons is going to take this in the other direction. Make it, touchdown, touchdown East.
Welcome back to Garden City. 42-6 is the lead for the home team, and MacArthur back under center. As Muller, coming off a touchdown in his last drive, will be back to pass. Most that he's had to pass this season, and he disconnects with Sarney. Anyway, we mentioned the big game last night, Iona Prep defeating St. Anthony's. Well, how about this? Varsity Media this year, the official broadcast partner of the CHSFL Championships, AA, AA1, and AAA, coming up November 20th from the Mitchell Athletic Complex. You can watch all three games on the Varsity Media Sports Network YouTube channel. The highlights will be there as well. It's always one of the more fun days of the year, championship weekend in the CHSFL, and the Varsity Media Sports Network will have it for you. Napoli able to hold on to it. Burst past the midfield, and he's got enough for a first down to move the chains.
What an adjustment by Napoli. That went from nearly fumbling to nearly having a tackle for a loss to getting a first down. So really good job changing direction. Good extra support on the left side of that offensive line for MacArthur, and a fresh set of downs for the Generals.
So Muller today, 6 of 10, 113 yards, and that TD. Hasn't thrown the ball more than 5 times in a game this year. But this has been out of necessity, as posed by the Garden City defense, and quite frankly, what they've been able to do on offense. There's the carry in the backfield for Finn Duffy. And Duffy, new set of downs.
Another pickup of 10 for MacArthur, and it looks like we're going to have an officials timeout here. There's a flag down on the field on the far side. But you mentioned the Catholic Championships. Nice that we are able to get back to having a truly championship weekend around Thanksgiving with the county championships, Long Island championships, Catholic League championships. Getting back to the tradition of that, so to speak, and being able to return to neutral site games, having the games at Hofstra in Nassau, Stony Brook, and Suffolk, and Mitchell Field, obviously, for the Catholic Championship, just really gives it more of a special vibe, a playoff vibe,
Yes.
letting you know that this is something different. This is something that you have earned over the course of the 8 weeks of the regular season, and there's something special to being a Big Four champion, so to speak.
And not just that, it's it's the atmosphere, like you mentioned. The buses coming in, the fans by the busload from the different schools, the athleticism, the stars really come out to play. Whether it's been you and I, Matt, when we used to cover games back in the day, just thinking the countless opportunities for the young men that are now in college, but memories that last forever. And we're very fortunate at the Varsity Media Sports Network to at least cover the Catholic side of the football championships. And you're right, it's a long return to normalcy, but a great weekend on Long Island.
A nice run on first down, MacArthur. Again, starting to get something going on the ground, and really that's what was missing for them in the first half. And granted, different complexion right now. Garden City maybe starting to sub some guys in and out. But we talked about MacArthur has to leave this field feeling like they were able to start to put something together, and they are in this second half.
Another carry for Duffy, the senior.
And another first down for the Generals as the clock continues to run. 4 minutes to go here in the third quarter. So we saw some positives from Muller throwing the ball. You mentioned he hadn't thrown the ball more than 5 times in a game. He threw that many in the first half because they were looking for answers offensively, and they were in a lot of second, third, and long situations. This, so far, what we've seen on this drive, this is more what MacArthur likes to do, what MacArthur's blueprint is on offense.
And Napoli the give on first down. But, the one counterpoint too, Matt, is, maybe you give Muller some confidence, throwing the ball, and that's a good weapon to have in the postseason.
For sure. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, that this would be something that if these two teams meet up again, right, you don't want to deviate too much from your game plan, but at least for Bobby Fehrenbach and the offensive coaching staff here, is they know they have that as an option. They know it's there if they want to go through it or if they want to break it out at times, that Muller can throw the ball with some efficiency.
Napoli the carry on second down. Inside the 10, set up about 3rd and 4.
Because you are, even coming into this game, and, obviously this is not the result that they would have wanted with still a quarter to play, you are still 6-1. So you don't want to completely undo everything that got you to this point. But you do want to figure out, okay, what did we really not execute well on in this game against Garden City? What are things that maybe we did that we don't ordinarily do that we can continue to take with us and that can work for us going forward into the postseason?
Napoli. More a self-inflicted wound. He slipped. And that'll lead to 4th down.
I've seen that a couple times today from a couple of the MacArthur players, and it's interesting because this is a turf field. Their home field is a turf field. So it's not like, there's nothing to no Sayville East Islip type of type of drama there. But MacArthur has had some trouble staying on their feet at times.
So you're saying this game won't get coverage on the morning shows, like that last one did?
I don't foresee that happening in the same way.
But you're right. And you know what? I'm glad that the weather is held up. Still chilly here, but raining this morning in the 5 boroughs and a couple of showers here, but it's been picture perfect since kickoff. As Napoli is smothered up, it's a turnover on downs, and Garden City will take over with 1:15 to go in the third.
Yeah, and we've had unseasonably warm late October weather here on the island. I mean, there was one day last week, and I think it was the Sunday, that it actually felt like fall.
Right.
But much of the mid-afternoons, you're able to walk around in pants and a T-shirt or a hoodie and shorts. And with the sun out on the field right now, it's feeling that way as well, which was sort of unique. I mean, there were so many unique things about last spring's football season, but it was uncharacteristic for the weather to be getting warmer as the season went along.
Yeah, it was the opposite. You're watching a game in May and it's a championship feeling, and it's, 60, 70 degrees outside?
Yeah. Which it's not, even if it's 60, 70 during the day right now, it's not that by the time nighttime hits. So if you're playing under the lights at Hofstra or Stony Brook or Mitchell Field, it's definitely going to have a playoff football feel to it.
Kuskaden gets the carry on first down. Have to imagine a couple more plays until the quarter ends for Garden City.
So I think this third quarter is more what we would have anticipated for the game to be, right? It's 7-7 quarter. MacArthur has had a little bit more time of possession. Garden City was able to make a quick strike at the start of the third quarter. But this is what we would have anticipated seeing for most of the game. And instead what we saw was Garden City really put on a full clinic, offensive, defensive, and even special teams able to create a turnover or capitalize off a turnover early in that first half.
Yeah, we'll get a false start. Movement coming from James Clarkson. Excuse me, not Clarkson.
Stenson there on the left side of the line. But again, that's the first Garden City penalty. We're at the end of the third quarter here, and again, there have been few mistakes for the Trojans on the surface level. I'm sure, again, the Garden City coaching staff will go back and watch film and see this or that or this, but really it's been fairly flawless this afternoon.
As the clock will wind down, and that will do it. 3 quarters in the books. Still all Garden City, 42-6, with the fourth quarter coming up next on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Parents and athletes, why leave your college career in the hands of amateurs? Varsity Media produces professional college recruiting videos that you can use to help land a spot on the team. Our highlight reels have proven to save thousands of dollars in college tuition. You've worked hard and put the effort into your high school athletic career. Don't take any chances when it comes to your future. Varsity Media has been producing college recruiting videos since 2010. We understand what college coaches are looking for, and our attention to detail on your highlights will separate your resume from others. Stand out from the crowd. We'll help showcase your talents. Contact Varsity Media today and order a college recruiting video.
Fourth and final quarter here in Garden City. It's been all Trojans over the Generals, 42-6. Alongside Matt Shortis, I'm John Perez. Chris Sweeney behind the ones and twos on the side, making sure the broadcast is A-OK, and the rest of our Varsity Media Sports Network crew up top on the roof as well, doing a fantastic job once again. 1 of 3 games today, 1 of 4 on the weekend here out on Long Island. And a good anticipated matchup. Matt, unfortunately, it tilted way in the way of Garden City. And Jack Kuskaden, 5 touchdowns in the first half. As Garden City, we said clinical, surgical. Kuskaden once again continuing to be on his feet. Just trucking defenders. Another first down for Kuskaden. Perhaps you could make the argument best team on Long Island.
Yeah, that was on 2nd and 15 that Kuskaden was able to push through. I mean, yeah, they could certainly be up for the discussion for the Rutgers Trophy, right? Walt Whitman is capitalizing and looking awesome in Section 1 and Section 11 in Conference 1. Lindenhurst in the conversation in League 2 in Suffolk County. And, of course, Plain Edge doing what they have done so far in 3 in Nassau here.
Good takedown in the backfield by the Generals, and that was Ryan Larkin taking down Fennell.
But I think when you look at the totality of what Garden City has done, right? Like you opened up our broadcast saying that the average score of a contest, if you break down their points for, points against, would be something like 49-2. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's staggering.
Right.
Even for a defense that historically is stingy for Garden City, that is high marks for them.
Right. RJ Vitruba, the ball carrier with a loss, and that'll set up 3rd and 17.
And obviously there's a lot of football to be played before that has to be determined. There's still 1 week left of the regular season, and then 3 rounds of playoffs within your county and a Long Island Championship. So we are about 2/3 of the way through the entirety of the football season, as the calendar will turn to November at the end of next week.
Schmidt airing it out over the middle. Vitruba's got it to the 30, the 20, through the house. RJ Vitruba. 85-yard catch and run. Garden City pouring it on 48-6.
Vitruba just using his speed, got around and over the top of the defense. There were 3 MacArthur defenders trailing him, and Schmidt, we talked about the precision passing of Luke Schmidt coming into this game. He's threw the ball just 26 times on the season, but connected for 20 passes. So an absolute on-the-mark pass to RJ Vitruba, 85 yards. And Garden City, after their drive was stalled a little bit, there wasn't a whole lot going on the run game. They decided to let one fly and take a chance downfield.
Just beautiful execution. And the extra point is spiraled through. 49-6. Garden City just showing out. And take a look once again. Vitruba about 4 or 5 yards in front of the secondary.
RJ Vitruba, part of that big sophomore class a year ago, which obviously are now juniors, but he and Stevie Fennell and Andrew Cruciello, Sawyer Olson, they all played pretty decent-sized parts, especially by Garden City standards, for sophomores on varsity teams, both on the football field and lacrosse field in those county championships. We just talked about last spring and the experience and how quickly that you kind of bounce back into football mode after that spring season. And Vitruba and Fennell kind of stepping into their roles this year as big-time players and contributors on this Trojans football team, along with obviously the seniors in Kuskaden and Luke Schmidt.
They've just got so many weapons, Garden City. And they've been out on full display today.
Yeah, they had 5 touchdowns in the first half, all on the ground. Their 2 touchdowns in the second half have been through the air. So Luke Schmidt threw two passing touchdowns to Jackson Parisa, RJ Vitruba.
And just under 10 minutes to play in this fourth quarter. MacArthur will go back on offense. As this is James Hagel. Hagel towards the 30. And MacArthur will try once again.
Senior, he's got some good speed. You could see when he gets into the open field, he's shifty, he's quick. Hasn't gotten too much time in terms of like playmaker offensively, but he's looked pretty good in special teams so far today.
So both of these teams back in action next week. Garden City travels to Elmont to try and finish off what would be a perfect season in the regular season. Meanwhile, New Hyde Park against MacArthur. And that's a big game from a PowerPoint standing. And, they're only a game behind. If they were to secure their win today, have a chance to leapfrog MacArthur next week.
For sure, that becomes a very big contest next week with MacArthur. If result holds and they end up losing here.
And the ball comes out, and Garden City will take over once again. As that looked to be, we'll take another look. Garden City going in, and it's recovered by Ryan Krieg, the junior. Pouncing on top of that loose ball.
Yeah, Krieg doing a nice job just ball hawking in essence. He dove right down there, and it almost looked like nobody else on the field had realized the ball was on the turf, and Krieg spotted it, able to hop on top of it. And the third fumble today for MacArthur, fourth fumble, third recovered by Garden City. So and again, that matchup next week, right? If whoever that number 2 team is right now heading into the playoffs, obviously you avoid Garden City until the championship game. So that's huge.
Right. The super subs now in for Garden City, as that was Matt Melling, the junior, on the carry.
And guys like Vitruba and guys like Fennell that we were talking about a moment ago, this is where they saw a lot of their action. Not that they weren't playing, obviously, the first few quarters, but they saw a lot of continuous action last year and got the reps, started to put the confidence up there and started to get things rolling together. And it's obviously paid off so far this year.
This is Ryan Marr under center, pitches it back. And Melling again on the carry. And a nice pickup towards the first down marker. And it'll be 3rd and short. Francesco Ingracia comes in as well. As Mar's natural position, the wide receiver linebacker, but getting some snaps today. Fullback for Garden City, Evan Katratis, who had a fumble recovery earlier in the game. And a flag coming in from the far side. And a false start. And, Matt, these are the growing pains for the backups and the underclassmen. I mean, they're still technically upperclassmen, but, the juniors and the players that are coming in that normally receive second-team reps. And, this is where they have an opportunity to gain some experience. And if their number is called over the final regular season game or in the playoffs, they could use this experience beneficially. That could help the team try to secure a county and Long Island championship.
Yeah, and if you're a player playing right now, your job, right, do the things that you're supposed to do as a player, like what's being called for, but also make a positive impression. Show the coaching staff what you're capable of, and make their decisions tougher in terms of pushing other players for playing time, and having them trust you a little bit more.
This will bring up 4th and 2 for Garden City. Trojans have led wire to wire. And now it's the second team. Ball comes loose. And smothered in the backfield was Ingracia. And a turnover on downs as the Generals will take over.
Yeah, good job by Ingracia just to limit the damage there, so to speak. A good hop, and he was able to grab it and again limit the damage. 6:41 to go, and again Garden City on top, still big, 49-6.
And it looks as if MacArthur is also emptying their bench. So get the new line in there. Jaden Vissenpod going from left to right. Mario Lagazzo still under center. Backup QB Jack Butler. And on the carry that time was Jordan James. Peter Raya getting some playing time as well.
So Jack Butler was a guy that saw some time last year after Muller got hurt, and again talking to Bobby Fehrenbach about them last year, and he said they were very similar players, that they had a good sort of competition, good rivalry between them in terms of the support of each other.
Luca Runyon with a nice pickup of, give him 7. But competition always breeds success. And for a MacArthur team that, a less than desirable result, if they, one of these subs comes in, puts up some good numbers, has a good tape, like we said, for Garden City, same is true for MacArthur, could help their team go far in the county and Long Island championship runs. Jordan James on the run. He's got himself a first down after the pickup of 4. As we close in on the 5-minute mark on the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think the main thing for MacArthur coming out of this game is kind of trying to just figure out what happened, what transpired in the opening quarter that put you in such a big hole early on. They've leveled things out, and I know when there's a big lead at halftime and things come in the second half, that kind of changes perception. But they have leveled things out here in the second half. Garden City still with the advantage, scoring 2 touchdowns so far in this second half. But they've played a much more balanced game. MacArthur has. They've been able to put a drive together. They've got a little bit more going on the ground. They've been able to limit Garden City for the most part. And, watching the film, watching the tape of this one, correcting what you can correct. I mean, we spotted it early on, but it's tough to score against this Garden City defense regularly. It's even tougher to score against them if you're having negative yardage on first down for the first several drives of the game.
Right.
So what do you do differently? How do you correct that? How do you get Napoli going if you are to take on Garden City for a second time in a county championship game?
MacArthur plowing ahead.
And then the other thing is from a line play, right? Garden City's line on both sides really, really set the tempo. Offensive line and defensive line, whether it was Staub or Sawyer Olsen or Sawyer Olsen, pardon me, or Rowan Stenson or Krieg or Kuskaden on the left side of the defensive line. They were physical. They were getting pressure both on the offensive and defensive side, regardless of where they were. So what does your line have to do? Is it a matter of were they not prepared physically? Do they have to play more physical? Perhaps, maybe they just weren't expecting some of the schemes that Garden City was showing. But if you're MacArthur, having to figure out what are we going to do to match Garden City's intensity at the line of scrimmage if we are to play them again.
And that's exactly what championship teams do. It's not the prettiest. It's not always going to stand out, but usually the games are won on the line. And for Garden City, that's the case today. And Kuskaden will reap the rewards, and he'll get the, all the adulation in the publications, but it really was the line today for Garden City that's done a good job, like you just highlighted, Matt.
Yeah, and Staub, who was the Newsday High School Athlete of the Week this week, had a little write-up on him where his parents didn't even want him playing football when he was younger. He played soccer, as so many do in Garden City here, because they have great club kid programs all around, whether it be soccer or lacrosse. Or he was playing soccer and he was playing goalie, and he went out and leveled a kid as a goalie, and he I guess that kind of made his parents aware that all right, maybe he was more of the football mentality. And they started letting him play as he got in towards his middle school years. And his dad played football at William & Mary down in Virginia. And he's had a phenomenal senior season so far. Had a phenomenal game today, especially.
Jordan James will pick up the first down for MacArthur. So we reach inside 1:30 left in the contest.
And even as a junior last year was such an anchor defensively, not only for this football team, but for the lacrosse team, and a lacrosse team that, again, was more of a defensive-oriented team at times last year. They had a really strong defensive midfield presence, both on their pole and their short stick defensive midfielders. And Stout picking right back up here. Again, an offense or a defense that allows under a touchdown per game.
And they're 45 seconds away from continuing that trend as well.
And we're at the end of the regular season. They've faced the two teams that are going to be the other top teams in the conference. So it's not like, okay, we still haven't seen them play X.
Right.
This is it. And they have passed every test and answered every challenge with exclamation.
Yeah, with flying colors all around. You're right. Last play of the ball game here for MacArthur, as they'll hand it off to Chris Picarella. He'll get the first down, and that will do it. Garden City wins, going wire to wire, a 49-6 victory for the Trojans. Jack Kuskaden, 5 touchdowns on the day as Garden City continues their onslaught in Nassau Conference 2 with the exclamation point win over the MacArthur Generals.
So with one game left in the regular season, Garden City puts a stranglehold on the top seed in Nassau Conference 2. They go to 7-0 on the year, and they do it in impressive fashion. Jack Kuskaden came into this game with 12 rushing touchdowns on the season. Well, he had five in the first half, and that was on 13 carries. Talk about efficiency. And Garden City allowed only 1 touchdown in the second half. Defensively, they continue their strong defensive identity. And MacArthur's got to, look in the mirror after this one, pick up the pieces, and figure out what needs to be changed, if anything. What do you got to improve upon? And get ready for the last game of the regular season for them, because it's a big one to try and fight for that number 2 spot in the playoffs.
And for Kuskaden, those 5 touchdowns, tying a Garden City record set by Trevor Yaboa Cody on September 22nd against JFK Belmore for the Trojans. So that will do it for our camera guys up top, Tony DeMasso and Mike Verdi, Chris Sweeney, our producer, and Matt Shortis. I'm John Perez saying so long from Garden City. This has been a production of the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.